Salah received amusing laser tagging during a football penalty kick. And wait until you see Neymar's insane penalty move, which forced FIFA to outlaw it. First, this is the most significant penalty miss in Premier League history. Do you recall how Suarez and Messi laughed so hard after doing this? Now, here's the situation. Welcome back to another exciting video from SUPERINFOHIVE. Today's video is about funny penalty moments in football history. Before we start the video, please like, subscribe, and press the bell icon. The fact that this one worked out was another reason for their excitement. The original guys who performed this back in 2005 were a complete bust. Arsenal had reached a peak. In addition to being the reigning league champions, they were also tough to defeat because they were constantly experimenting. However, they tried to raise the bar in the 2005 match against Man City and looked foolish. Thierry Henry was supposed to take the pen that Arsenal had been given. He then set the ball down in that location. The only issue is that Henry and his friend Pires had been working on a project in the training field all week. And now, at last, they can put it into practice. Man, those two had eggs all over their faces. If you'll try to fudge a penalty, at least try, like Alex Telles, my boy. Alex Telles was a dead ball specialist back in Porto. The guy took penalty kicks for the team because he was that good. He is also a left back. Porto received a penalty in the match against Martimo. Naturally, Telles volunteered to accept it. However, the goalie thought he could trick Telles into thinking a few different things. At that point, he increased the intensity. If Telly had the balls, he dared her to chip him. Telly also didn't want to crumble in such a situation. He was unaware that the goalie had done him a dirty trick. How painful! This fiasco so shook Telles that he was heading to Manchester United the following Monday to avoid dealing with that guy again. See, guys, perhaps Telles didn't chip him because he didn't want to become Romario Bald, the guy after him. That has to be the worst Panenka kick I have ever seen. It was also humiliating. His teammates shot him the death stare. Man, the Panenka is reserved for the originals. To pull this off, you need a certain kind of finesse. And Andrea Pirlo enters the picture at this point. England versus Italy in the 2012 Euro semifinals. Furthermore, it was tense. After extra time, penalties were immediately used because the game ended in a 0-0 draw. Joe Hart, the English goalie, is a pretty talkative guy. And Hart chose to deprive Pirlo of his momentum just as he was about to put the ball down. Pirlo had none of it after playing a few mind tricks and decided to take a hard payoff. Half an hour in, France received a pen. Zidane was going to take it, of course. You won't expect him to go overboard, though, given the pressure, will you? But you would be mistaken. I told you this guy had huge balls. Whoa! It isn't easy to top that. What could be more absurd than a Panenka penalty? A non-look one. Not one look pass, not one look shot, and now not one look pen? Incredible. Kramaric may have been fortunate to get this one through. He had begun to celebrate even before he scored two. And in football, you hardly ever do that. The next goalie was going to learn that lesson the hard way. The guy receiving the kick then strikes the bar. The goalie begins to grin in his direction. The ball then turns around and enters. It's not even scriptable. The consequences are severe, but if you cross the line, you can celebrate however you please. Similar to these Kenyan guys. In a friendly match when Everton visited Kenya in 2018, they took on a local team, the Kariobangi Sharks. Salah used his spot kick to play laser tag with them a few months ago. Salah was representing Egypt in a World Cup qualifier against Senegal. When the game finally went into penalties, and it was Salah's turn, the Senegalese supporters decided it would be best to force Salah to play a game instead. Green laser identification tags? You're it, Salah. He shot over, missing the mark. That wasn't good. However, perhaps not to the same extent as Messi's 2015 meme-making. Barcelona was on the road, taking on Man City in the Champions League. finished the last few minutes. Barca got a pen from the referee. At that point, the score was 2-1. It was the worst possible moment when he went sliding. The Champions League final in 2008. Manchester United versus Chelsea. As the match entered a penalty shootout, Terry stepped up to take the kick, allowing Chelsea to win the game and the Champions League for the first time. And a few of his teammates had already begun to celebrate, but Terry pulled off a Gerrard at that moment, long before it was popular. Captain Slippin's last kick, huh? Presumably, JT needed more items. Guys like Van Dijk were embarrassing goalies and making high-stakes penalties matter. This time, the match proceeded to straight penalty kicks following a goalless 180 minutes in the Carabao Cup final of 2022. These guys wanted to get everything. Everyone continued to score as a result. However, Kepa, the Chelsea goalie, had an absurd notion. When it came time for him to go, he wanted to delay Virgil van Dijk. He therefore moved far down to the side and gave Van Dijk the ultimate challenge to play his kick in that area rather than standing in the middle like regular goalies do. Was that right? This guy is way better than Rene Higuita. Not at all. Man, I've witnessed many absurd penalty incidents over the years. However, nothing compares to Neymar's hilarious move, which demolished keepers across Brazil. Neymar is among the most gifted men I have ever seen. The man was having fun dribbling and running over defenders. Neymar was terrifying the league with one particular skill, his attempt at a penalty kick. You see, Neymar deviated from the standard approach taken by ballers worldwide. The man was unique. The goalies were unable to resist. They constantly searched for the ultimate trick shot. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more exciting content.